He bowled, he was on the executive of the Yorkton 5-pin, he was on the executive of the league, and he was involved in the zone. He was coaching quite heavily at that time with the YBC, the Youth Bowling Council in Yorkton, and he would coach the kids every Saturday, and then when their tournaments came up, he would take them out of town and coach them there. All ages. He coached the Golden Agers. If they had a tournament to go out, he would take them and go, and he coached in the zone, and he would coach just our local adult bowlers.
I can remember from time we were little kids, if we weren't at the bowling alley in the summer, we were at the golf course and, as well. I vividly remember one incident when he was in high school that he was asked to do a presentation to his English class, and he wrote down the most meticulous report that probably was ever presented about bowling, how you sand the lanes and how many steps you take and when you release the ball and those kind of things. And that was in the late 60s. And that bowling was in his blood then, and it just carried on right through until he passed away.
Teaching and passing on what he knew, and to just better the people he was teaching and help them to achieve their goals. One of his favorite sayings was, a good bowler wouldn't let that bother them. Some bowlers have to, don't talk to me when I'm up on the lane, or, you shouldn't anyways, but, don't bug me before, and they're off in the corner, and they're just really concentrating, got their head in the game. John would be off in the corner laughing or whatever, and when it was his turn to bowl, he would get up and bowl, because, like I said, his favorite saying was, that wouldn't let it bother a good bowler. John averaged probably 225 and plus for his bowling career, and it's in the top 10% of Canada to have a 225 and plus average. At the time of his passing, he was the president of the Saskatchewan 5-pin. He had just become president in the 98-99 season. The Canadian Nationals were in Regina that year, May 25th. Rick Schaefer, a good friend of ours from Melville, him and I took John, and we made up a bed in the van, and we took him to Regina. And we had him in his wheelchair because, of course, he was only a month away from passing away. And we took him in his wheelchair, and we wheeled him in, and he got a standing ovation, and there was tears. And, he knew a lot of these people because he had been to nationals. He goes to the national meetings. He knew a lot of the people, and they knew him. And it was a very touching moment. But it was also, he wanted to be at the nationals, and it was very fortunate for us that they were in Regina and not some other province in Canada, that we were able to take him there. And it was a great peace of mind for him to be able to attend that function. When the Bowling Federation of Saskatchewan found out that John was sick, they came down to see him, and the first thing that they said was they wanted to have a John Loster Memorial Award. So they went and talked to him in the hospital about it. They let him know that this is what they wanted to do. And John was very touched. And John was a very humble man. And he didn't, how can I say it? He didn't boast or brag or whatever of any. And he was very touched that the Bowling Federation of Saskatchewan, along with the Saskatchewan 5-pin, was going to set up a John Loster Memorial Award, which will be handed out every year from now until the end of time, in his honor. Before John passed away, he asked me to carry on his legacy, and I feel that the John Loster Memorial Award is a big part of that. Being inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame is another big part of that, and it makes me feel good inside that yes, he's being recognized, and he's going to be known who he was and what he did and what he accomplished in his short life.